If you reflect upon your daily life, you will actually recognize that there is a significant amount of resistance and unnecessary struggle that exists. Why am I bringing this up? Why does this matter? How is this going to help you to not suffer? How is this going to actually deepen the quality of your own mind and raise the quality of your life? You see, when we don't accept our experience, right, when there's that lack of that deeper acceptance, we will suffer unnecessarily. We're going to be in that sense of fight, which is a sort of traumatic response that we're stuck in, rather than actually acting from our authentic self, from our most grounded self, from our most present self, from our true clarity. We're actually acting upon many thousands of years of evolutionary conditioning. We're acting upon our very, very old sort of automatic responses to threat when we are in this continuous state of struggle against experience. We're essentially trapped also in old childhood experiences that were challenging for us and we never really processed. We're stuck in trauma. And well, obviously, life isn't very enjoyable when we're stuck in trauma. We want to be free. We want to not suffer. We want to experience peace. We want to have fun in our life. We want to experience great challenges that grow us. We want to self-actualize. We want to feel safe. We want to feel connected. We want to eat food that helps our body to heal and be functioning properly. So when we're in this constant state of struggle against life, we can't even perceive it clearly because we're too biased all the time. We're always thinking about what I need, and we're afraid of not getting what we actually need. We're afraid that we are going to, die. We're afraid that we're not going to survive. And this is the deep-rooted fear that we have to shine awareness on. We have to shine awareness on all the ways in which we struggle unnecessarily. How does this raise the quality of your life? Imagine if instead of struggling against your current experience or any experience, you learned how to openly accept it, to accept it with love. What else do you want in life other than to accept every experience that comes your way with an open heart and with the deepest love that you can possibly give to it? What could be better than that? What's a better life than learning how to fully love each and every moment as it comes your way? This doesn't mean that you become a doormat or roll over or you can't change things. But this means that regardless of what happens, you're going to remain in connection to what is currently happening. Regardless of what experience comes your way, you are going to remain open to it without shutting down, without going into a traumatic response. You're going to remain conscious, grounded, present, compassionate, curious, etc. Patient, persistent with your experience, things that you can learn from this book right here, Somatic Internal Family Systems. You see, when we're struggling against our experience, our body doesn't like it either. When we're resisting emotions, when we have an experience that we're fighting against, our body produces a lot of stress. Our body's suffering. It's burning its precious energy. And we feel that on a somatic level. Did I point to it? On the somatic level. Most people on our planet are not really connected to their bodies in a very mindful and profound way where they can really feel deeply into it. And that itself is a form of trauma when you're deeply disassociated from your body and you're not able to actually feel it properly. I'm not going to go into that here. But returning back to the topic of the video, if we reflect on our life, we will discover that there's a lot of unnecessary struggling, unnecessary suffering, unnecessary resistance that we continuously create. And with our awareness, with the deepening of our consciousness, we can alleviate a lot of that suffering, all of that suffering that we experience actually, that's generated by that because it's completely self-generated and it's self-inflicted. And we can experience more peace. When you went to go brush your teeth this morning, what was the state of your body? Were you resisting? Were you rushing? Were you fully present with just brushing your teeth? When you need something, what's your experience? Are you needy for it? Are you clinging? Are you rushing for it? Are you fighting for it? Or are you able to just kind of relax into your need, maybe for food or for connection or for safety, and provide it to yourself? When you are walking down the street, when you're talking to someone, right now, watching this video, what's the state of your being? Notice any background resistances that you can detect just by shining awareness on what I'm pointing you towards. Recognize tensions in your body that are habitually there. Every single person holds various tensions in their body as ways to guard against emotional experiences. And only when a person inquires into them and learns to open up to life, that is the only moment when those actually kind of melt away and a person's genuinely able to remain open. They can see reality more clearly because all these defensive mechanisms and survival mechanisms have sort of dissipated. They've relaxed more. And now they can see, right? They can perceive life clearly because they're not looking at it through all these defensive mechanisms, all these defensive perceptions, all these survival perceptions. So basically everyone is holding lots of tension in their body to defend themselves against feelings that they don't want to experience. And only a very, very small percentage of people don't do that very much. I remember for me personally, on my first meditation retreat about 5 years ago, it became very, very obvious to me. Oh, all this tension that I'm holding, this is to defend myself against things I don't want to feel. And this is really how my ego is manifesting. This is how my sense of self is actually manifesting. This is where I hold all my traumas. This is where I hold the emotions I don't want to feel. This is how I remain disassociated. This is where my bad habits are stored and the emotions that drive them. This is where my delusions are stored and the sort of energies that fuel them. I need to investigate the energies occurring in my body and fully feel them, the emotions that are trapped in my body and fully feel them in order to liberate myself and actually experience a lot more freedom in our life. So, in my life. And then as I continued on that path, my body began to actually open up more and more and more. I wasn't always tense. My gut wasn't always tense. I was able to just be open. My heart felt open. It didn't feel tense or constricted or numb or dull or any of that kind of stuff. It felt just open. I could be loving. I could be more compassionate. I could be more gentle with myself, with other people. I was naturally more present because these physiological manifestations of my emotional and mental resistance, they were no more. I was able to actually feel and integrate the whole spectrum of emotional experiences. I can integrate my shame, my anger, my sadness, my grief, to my bliss, my joy, my pleasure, etc. Essentially, when your mind is not battling against life, you can see it clearly and you suffer less. You're more in tune with it. You feel your connectedness to life, which is a fundamental thing that you're actually looking for in life. You want to realize your sense of unity with life. You want to realize your sense of oneness with life. You have a need to actually realize that you are not an ego, a separate ego, living in a world of just separate dull objects. You have a need to transcend. You have a need to self-transcend and self-actualize. You have a need to realize the true nature of reality, right? That's a self-transcendence need. When you forget your true nature, when you're identified with thoughts and the ego and all these defensive mechanisms, your mind's distorting your reality, right? And you're, like I said, you're not seeing it clearly. And from that forgetting of what you actually are, the need to remember what you are manifests. And when you don't get that need met, it actually is painful. You suffer. Just like when you don't get vitamin B12 or vitamin C or a sense of safety or shelter. When you don't get those needs met, sickness happens. And this kind of sickness that we're talking about isn't really needed. It's very, very optional, actually. It's just things that we do unconsciously, and we often justify them, and we don't want to see them. We don't want to look at them. We want to bypass them. We want to, just deny them, deceive ourselves. We want to convince ourselves that it's not real. It's all this kind of stuff that's kind of bubbling beneath the surface that's actually creating so much of the pain that we experience in our lives. And when we thoroughly investigate it, we actually alleviate ourselves from this pain that we've been holding on to for X amount of years, for some people their entire life. We begin to transcend the ego. We actually get a healthy sense of self. We begin to get a healthy sense of ego, a healthy sense of individuality, while recognizing who and what we are beyond just individuals, realizing the interconnected nature of being, realizing that I am not separate from that person over there, or this wall behind me, or these books behind me, or these books that I have in my hand right here. There is nothing separating any of these things, and the lack of realizing that manifests as the need to realize that. And when that need's not met, there's actually pain there. So a good place to start off is radical acceptance. Another good one, the deepest acceptance. And another very, very profound one, I highly recommend, somatic internal family systems. So actually recognize in your life, if I can kind of give you almost like a homework assignment, recognize how much unnecessary struggle exists when you're brushing your teeth, when you're cooking food, when you're going for a walk, when you're sitting in traffic. When you're sitting in traffic, is there anything to really get extremely angry about or anything like that? Or can you actually just sit there? When we're waiting for something, can we just sit and actually enjoy the experience of sitting? Or are we going to get, anxious and frustrated and start generating our own sort of illness? Recognize how much you push and struggle and force. The key here is force. You're forcing your agenda upon life. You're trying to get something. You're needy for something so you can feel better. And that itself, that constant pushing, constant desiring, right, is causing a lot of suffering. I don't really want to use the word desiring. I want to just kind of change that, right? What do I really mean by that? It means that there's something that you're wanting in order to escape your current experience. You're kind of delusional. You think that if I get this, then I'm going to be okay. If I get this person, this money, if I get this experience, this circumstance, then I'm going to be okay. So it's this unconscious desiring as a way to escape experience that is actually causing suffering. There is such a thing as healthy desires. A human being has desires. That's a very normal thing. But when we are desiring in a way that is sort of connected to our tendency to avoid and escape reality, then we suffer, which is a very sort of normal phenomenon, right? That's a thing that we do in order to just defend ourselves against our own internal pain. But as adults, we can actually process internal pain. We can go to our buried emotions. We can investigate our psyche. We can self-actualize. We can self-transcend. We can look into how we struggle against our life unnecessarily, our own emotions, our experiences, our own thoughts, our own selves, the parts of us that we don't like. We can see that we are engaged in this sort of war against life, and we can actually allow it to settle down through awareness, through consistently practicing awareness, through, mindfulness meditation, through inhabiting the body, right? Embodied awareness, right? Learn about that in somatic internal family systems. We can actually settle into our present experience in a very felt way, relaxing into it and allowing whatever wants to arise, and actually meeting it with curiosity, with compassion, with care, with patience. We can experience a sense of awe for what arises inside of us. We can actually want to investigate our experience. This is a need, really. This is a part of self-transcendence and self-actualization, the need to actually investigate our consciousness, the need to investigate what our experience actually is, the need to actually be with our experience and get the truth of what experience is. Some advanced stuff in this video and some casual stuff. I recommend picking up these 3 books. They will help you out quite a lot. And like I said, get a consistent awareness practice, consistent meditation retreats, vipassana, self-inquiry, consistent journaling, self-therapy, etc. It's all going to be very helpful. I also have a free book list, and I'm also doing one-to-one coaching. So if you are interested, check all that stuff out. It's in the description and the pinned comment. See you later.